Alright, forgive the wind. I hope you guys can hear me. This is going to be about club face awareness, stabilizing the club face to impact. The guy on the range today, watching him hit balls, kind of inspired me for this video. But this is mainly for, we'll say, mid-handicappers. A lot of good and bad shots, 90% of them are caused by where the club face is at impact. So, if I'm going this way, it's either going to be, the face will either be square, open, or closed. But the problem is, the club head is swinging so fast, it's hard to really get a gauge on where it is at impact as far as either open, square, or closed. Because throughout the swing, the club is actually opening and closing. So it's very difficult to figure out what it is doing from here to here. So one good thing to worry about or think about is in the backswing, where if this is square, what makes the club face square throughout my backswing? It's easy to tell if it's square or not here, but back in here it's difficult. Some telltale signs are your left wrist. For example, if in my backswing, if my left wrist is bowed, like this, you can see how it's bowed. The club face is actually pointing back this way. And without changing my hands, I'll bring it back down to impact. And if you can't tell, it's very, very closed. Like that. Same thing. In my backswing, my wrist is cupped. Like this little cup here. The club face is pointing way over this way, almost horizontal. So if I bring it back down to impact, you can see it's actually open. Like that. So what that's telling you, the club face has to point not there and not directly behind you, but somewhere 45 degrees this way. So in order to do that, if this is cupped, this is bowed, it has to be straight. And the club face is pointing 45 degrees that way. Also a good way to tell is if you put both your hands together and then you just turn. So just vision like you're holding onto a book or a clipboard. Okay, so you get here and you just turn like this, and you can see your hands work together, and you can still clap or whatnot like this, and you'll feel where your right arm's supposed to be, and also how your left wrist is supposed to be flat. You're not going to do this, and you're not going to do this. So that's the sensation you want to have right there. So if I get here, it's the same feeling, that and that. It's the same thing. So, and what that'll be able to have you do better is from here, instead of doing all those contortions to get it back to square or whatever else you have to do, if it's from here, you just return back to square. It's very, very simple, very, very repeatable. A lot of guys that have these weird idiosyncrasies, they have a lot of makeup moves in the downswing to get the face stabilized. And it's also a lot of flash speed. Flash speed is speed that you can't really control. For example, if I get here and I whip it, it has a whole lot of speed, but the club face is I can't tell what it's doing at the bottom. But if I make more of a deliberate impact or a deliberate strike, I can tell what the club face is doing. I can tell if it's a little bit open, a little bit closed when it gets to the ball. And it's actually going to be more powerful, because flash speed doesn't have a whole lot of force behind it. It's almost like a snap, but something that has more force behind it, but going at, we'll say, a slower rate of speed, it carries more momentum and more energy. For example, alright, on this one, let me move this bucket real quick. Okay, so on this one, I'll use a lot of flash speed where I'm not going to be able to control the club face. It'll just be like a real fast whip through. Now see, that was very, very quick and the club face is open, ball sprayed way right. Why? Although I had good club head speed, it was actually a weak hit off to the right because there was nothing behind it, and I can't control the club face. On this one, I'll make more of a deliberate strike where I can control the club face, especially in the backswing, and make a more concerned effort to square it up at the bottom. But it'll actually be a little bit slower club head speed. And it actually went farther. So, two things to take away from this is you can actually hit the ball farther with a square club head and not swinging as hard because you have more force and energy behind it. And also club head and face stability going through impact. This will help you a lot being able to do this and get that feeling of where your hand should be, where the face should be going from here to here. Okay, hope that helps.